Okay, so we are starting out our podcast. I don't know. I think this might be the fifth one, maybe the sixth one if you don't count the bonus episode.
I think it might be the sixth one.
Okay, Lex has weighed in and saying six, but we've really kind of avoided talking about the election and everything leading up to it and the results of it. But, it's, I feel now, time to talk about what it really means and the end result and, what some sort of plans of actions need to be. And, I think some insights for me and for you.
Well, I
perhaps.
agree because, this is day 11 basically since the situation happened on the 8th. The situation. In which I think a lot of people were sort of rightly or wrongly, naively, whatever, taken by surprise when Donald Trump became the president-elect. I've talked to more people than not in our Bay Area specifically. I mean, we are in sort of a bubble situation in a way, where I think the majority of people,
I don't know if it's a bubble.
were not Trump supporters, but anyway, I feel like
Progressive thinking, perhaps.
yeah, progressive thinking.
But anyway, you've talked to a number of people,
Well, I have, and I think that,
and what say ye,
well,
or they?
I think that the people that I have talked to, and sometimes those are people that I don't even really know, except they're the clerks at Trader Joe's, that I recognize, or the neighbor from down the street that I talked to the other day, or clients of mine, kind of a vast range of people, are just really surprised and not necessarily dismayed, but just really feel tentative and uncertain as to what this means.
So, that it's interesting that you say that. I think, kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm reading is alarming to me in terms of some cabinet picks, what people are saying in terms of, well, let's just wait and see what he does. And for me, this is really not a philosophical discussion about whether or not let's just wait and see what he's going to do. I think what he's basically said is really what he's going to do. I don't think that he's any different than what he's portrayed himself all along.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to me. I wish I could remember this guy that I saw or heard on a program where he really was really quite articulate in what he said, and basically what he said was, this is not a philosophical discussion. This is like people are thinking like this is like life and death. I mean, these are life choices that are that this president-elect is kind of like laid on the table. When you talk about who is appointed to his cabinet and some of the policies that he's laid out along his campaign. And why would we think that he's not going to do exactly what he said he was going to do? Why would we think that it would be any different? I don't. Can you shed some light on that? Because I don't understand this theory that people are going with that.
Well, I think the theory that some people are going with is that they're just, when push comes to shove, there's not going to be a way for him to be as extreme as he was on his campaign, in his campaign persona and his campaign policies. And for instance, he's already backed down on, I'm going to remove and repeal the Obamacare thing. You know, he's already kind of like, well, the wall, and believe me, I'm not making excuses for him, but already he's been like, well, this wall that I was talking about making Mexico pay for, it's just a metaphorical wall. You know, I mean, so I think that the hope is that he's not really going to be as extreme and hateful and vitriolic as his campaign promises were. But the thing is, he has, in this past few
the thing
days.
is,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying what you said. The thing is,
Yeah, he has in this past few days shown to be interested in surrounding himself with people that are pretty extreme. And that's the scary thing about that. You know, Steve Bannon, his chief strategist. Well, Mike Pence, his vice president. I mean, they've all been kind of proven to be pretty extreme in their conservatism and their civil rights situations that have not been pro-civil rights. Gay LGBTQ rights down the drain, you know, that kind of thing, which only goes to increase people's fear and anxiety. And yeah, the immigration is just, all I can say here and now is I will be spending the next 4 years with one eye open.
just one eye.
Well, right, because that's where I will, every time I see something that is going south.
That was kind of a joke. Just
Well, I've got to
one
sleep
eye.
with one eye closed because I do need to get my sleep. But anyway,
okay, right.
I know what I mean.
I know what you mean too. I think that, you know, as we go through this and we see, and you know, I hear what you're saying about, you know, certain things that he's kind of backed off from. But I think what's disturbing to me are the people that right now are being chosen to be in the cabinet.
Precisely my thoughts.
Number one. And then number two, the fact that there's a continued use of Twitter, really by him, that I don't really understand as a president-elect. I mean, I would imagine there would be bigger fish to fry than talking about somebody from the Hamilton play that really did something, I thought, and made a speech that was pretty respectful. There was nothing offensive in that
No.
in saying what that individual said, but yet there was a retort of, "I need an apology."
I thought the retort was a little extreme. But yeah, I also have mixed feelings about somebody in a play calling out an audience member on something. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with that. However, I do think that, yeah, the president-elect's response of like, you have harassed my vice president-elect and therefore that seems a little extreme. The other thing that I'm super concerned about, just as an aside, is this cloak and dagger kind of thing with the media, where Donald Trump several times now has been in situations where he's been in official meetings and stuff, and he has not alerted his White House press at all.
Well, he doesn't really
He
feel the
doesn't
need
want
to.
transparency, and that's like, wow, is this really going to continue?
But it should.
Is this going to be our new normal? I don't think so.
I mean, I think that it is, and I think that when we say new normal, I think
We've got to
that
insist on different.
there's an attempt to make it normal, and I think that that's where we need to say this is not normal. And I think, this starts a dialogue, in terms of there this is not okay. This is not normal, and I think that we all need to understand normalcy and what has happened and what has gone on in the last year. I think it's been a little traumatizing, I think, to everybody. I mean, I can't remember a time since I've been alive where people have really kind of wanted the election year to be over and everything to be done with. And I think that just kind of tells you how bad it was this past year.
It's
So
just been exhausting to all of us, I
it's
think.
just terrible. So I don't know. In summation, I think we've definitely done some things to become active in our community, knowing that there are things that we need to do. There's work to be done. Silence is not an option, and I that's what I have to say about it. I don't know what you have to
Well,
say
I
about
think
it.
that we just have to, conserve our energy and sleep with one eye open and be ready to. I don't think there's any point anymore in protesting the president because he is our president, whether we like it or not. But I feel like I will be ever vigilant and ready to protest in moment to moment with if I see things changing or going south as far as Planned Parenthood, women's reproductive rights, immigration laws, that kind of thing. Those are the things I will protest on a case by case basis.
Well, I think
I'm
there
not going to become
is.
complacent, and I think that that's where we can't. There's no room to just become complacent or go to sleep again.
I'll tell you this.
Tell
I'm
us
not
this, Chris.
waiting to see what's going to happen. Had the ancestors before me done that, I would not be where I am right now. So there's no waiting to see. I can see what's happening, and it's
But what are you going to do about that, Chris?
only time will tell.
Right. Wait and see.
Oh, I'm not waiting and seeing, but only time will tell what I will do.
Yeah.
What we all will do, as people in the United States and with this great country. I mean, I still think that there's good here. I gotta say it was definitely a little depressing to see the end of what people thought and sort of the hatred and the hate crimes that have come out of this election and what people have felt free to express themselves as feeling. So, freedom of expression, I guess, but it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, because now it's been validated.
So, there's still work to do, and we're gonna get going on doing that work.
Ever vigilant.
And I guess that's all we have for this week's installment.
I think that's all. I think we need to get some sleep and conserve our strength. See you next week.